Hey there, my name is Brittany of Basket Weaving with Textile Indie, and right now we're in a series on weaving a cat's head basket. Part 1 is weaving an open base. Today we're going to talk about how to create the cat's head base and start weaving the walls, and we'll continue this series in Part 3. Check the description below for all the links to the videos in this series, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots more basket weaving tutorials and inspiration. For the full instruction manual and the video workshop for this basket, you can check out the Textile Indie Collective. I've put the link in the description below. We have lots of basket weaving tutorials and fiber arts classes in the membership, so be sure to check out our page with the full list of what's included. The defining factor of a cat's head base is that the corners of the basket sit lower than the center of the base of the basket. So they kind of fold down like this, pushing up the center and creating 4 little feet that the basket sits on. It's a fun silhouette for a basket, and you can do this in a variety of different sizes. So we're going to go over how to create those little feet using the weaving structure. The first step is going to be grabbing 4 clamps, and I like to use metal clamps for these because they have nice smooth teeth and a firm grip. Now you're going to take the 2 pieces in a corner, so these pieces that form the corner here, and you're going to crisscross these upright like so and clamp that crisscross in place. Now I'm going to do the same thing in each corner, folding these or clamping them together at a slight crisscross, and you want the crisscross pretty low into the basket. So you do that all 4 corners, clamp it low so it's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches above the corner weaving right here, and that will already start to lift the center up, creating or pressing the 4 corners into the table. Now another technique that I like to utilize is flipping this over so you're looking at the basket from the outside, and if you press this down, those clamped corners push up even more. So this is going to exemplify exactly how you want the bottom of the basket to look once you've woven. So starting like this gives you a good indicator of how the weaving structure is going. So grab your 1/4 inch wide flat oval reed. If you're working with our kit, you can put the whole bundle in there. We're going to be weaving through it for the walls of this basket. You can grab 1 length, and as I weave, I start at the beginning of a length, weave until I run out or can't go all the way around anymore, and then discard any excess. I don't pre-cut my rows, especially for this kind of basket, because I want to allow the ability to control some organic movement in the walls of the basket, whether that's adding some ease so that it pulls out more or pulling in tighter. So if I pre-cut my reed, I either don't have enough or I waste a bunch. So use a length. These are pre-cut when they come in the bundle. They are random lengths based on how they were harvested as the vine. So you'll just grab a piece and weave with it as long as you can. So with this end, grab another clamp. This involves a lot of clamps. We're going to clamp this on top. So if you count the corner stake here, I'm going to clamp this on the 2nd stake in. So clamp it right on top here. And that's my over. Whenever we weave a basket, always start to the outside of the basket on top of a stake or a spoke. This will ensure that as you weave around, you're able to do your 4 stake overlap or see where you've ended and started, and we'll cover that, but you want it on the outside. So from this point, we're on an over. I'm going to go under the following stake, and if it comes loose, you'll just tuck it back in there and clamp it back in place. Now I'm under, the next one's over, and then under the following one. Now when you get to a corner, it's a little bit finicky, but we have to unclamp in order to get around that corner. Weave that loosely and then reclamp your corner, 2 stakes like so, and then come in and create a crease right where that wants to sit with this bowing upwards. So you want to follow that curve. I kind of think of it as a rainbow. This curve from corner to corner is a bit of a rainbow curve that we're trying to mimic and follow. We'll make sure that we end up with enough reed in each of these curves and we don't pull tight. If we pull too tight, we're going to end up flattening out the base. We won't get our cat's head base. If we go too loose, we're going to end up with a bubble drow. So there's kind of a fine middle point. So we'll continue weaving over under. This is just plain weave, as we've done in many baskets in the series. over, under. Again, when you get to a corner, make sure you have enough reed to pack this side down. You're following that curve in there. We're going to take the clamp out, go over this one, under, without pulling too tight, and then immediately reclamp that so that we maintain that corner. And then you can adjust to make sure you have enough reed to go around that corner without pulling it too tight. I'm going to rotate my basket around using the towel. At this point, it's good to not move your basket itself. Rotate the entire towel. Continue weaving this first row all the way around. Anytime you get to a corner, you'll unclamp those, weave that under, reclamp your pieces, and then you can adjust that corner of weaving so that it fits snug. You don't want to bubble, but you don't want it too tight. I'm going to rotate again. And for this Catshead version, we're going to do start and stop, which means that each row, we start a row and then we end a row doing a 4-stake overlap. When you get back to your beginning, you can take off that starting clamp. Now, this is why I end on the outside, because I can see this end. When I come back around, I can immediately cover up that end. That'll be stake number 1. I go over. Then I'm going to go behind this stake, which is stake number 2, over stake number 3, and cut this to the far edge of stake number 4, and then tuck this end to hide it behind that stake there. We're going to rotate the basket a quarter turn, so I go counterclockwise. My starting and ending end is on this side of the basket, and now I'm going to start and end on this side of the basket. Rotating a corner turn and starting on different sides of the basket will help to balance it out. Here, I need to find a stake where my previous row was under. So I'm going to set this up right here on the 3rd stake in. So 1, 2, and 3. Clamp this in place, weave over. I'm going to move my corner clamps so that I can go under here. And then over, reclamp these so I don't lose that little foot. Go under the next stake, following the previous row as my reference of what I'm weaving next. And I'm still trying to pack these in nice and tight, following the curve that naturally is happening here. Rotate this around, do this next wall, coming around this corner. And if your rows come apart, I forgot to put a clamp in here. So I'm going to adjust these so that this is hidden once again, and then put a clamp there to hold these ends in place. That can happen. Just try to get a clamp in there so that you don't lose your ends. Rotate around again, pack this row in. Packing at this point is really important because you're trying to get it to follow that curve and make sure you have just the right amount of reed. So following the curve of that side, weaving this in. And then finishing off with your 4-stake overlap. I'll rotate this around again. So I have an over this end, behind one, over, and then I'm going to tuck it behind this one in the corner. So cut it to the right length and then tuck it behind there like so. Now rotate a quarter turn again. And now this piece of reed isn't going to be enough to go all the way around. I can use this later to splice in multiple scrap pieces into my basket, but for these starting rows, I like to try to keep them in one piece so that I have more control of what's going on. So I'll grab a new piece, and starting on a new side of the basket, I'm going to clamp this on top here on this second spoke in, and then weave over under around the basket once again. I'm going to do my 4-stake overlap right here, cut this and tuck it behind. The next section of the basket here is going to be alternating between round reed and quarter inch. Find the side that you're should be starting on here. With round reed, you're going to weave slightly differently. Rather than doing a 4-stake overlap, we're going to tuck this behind a stake. So this last row was over. Now we're going to tuck this behind and clamp that in place behind the stake. And this is going to crisscross behind that stake when we're done. So here, I'm going to weave around, move my clamps as I need to. And I'm doing this with the basket pressed against the table, again, because I want to help maintain that cat's head. And now here is my starting end tucked behind this stake here. So I'm going to cut this. I'm going to go over this stake and cut beyond the second stake over so that I can tuck it. It's laying over top here. I'm going to tuck it behind this one. So if we flip this over to the inside of the basket, you're going to have two ends crisscrossing like so. That's how we're going to end our round reed to the inside. Now, even with round reed, we're still going to maintain that quarter turn each row. So quarter turn to your next side, and the next row will be quarter inch wide flat oval. So you'll start on an over, clamp that in place, and weave around. I'm going to end this end overlapping by 4 stakes, tucking behind here and clamping that row in place so it doesn't come undone on me. Now, another aspect for this, because we have a curve and we're going wider from our base, we're going to angle these stakes out so that they're splaying out a little bit. We'll do this on all sides, pushing these apart so that they're not going straight up and down anymore. They're kind of splaying out, fanning out like the rays of a sun. So it should look a little bit more like this, like they're spokes rather than straight stakes. Now we're doing a round reed row. So find the side that you're starting on. If you find your overlap, you'll have that to the left of your work and be working up here at the top. I'm going to go behind this stake right here, clamp that in place. And now over and under all the way around. At this point, I'm going to remove the clamps and I'll keep weaving this flat against the table, but I'm going to spread these corners out so that they follow that spiral pattern a little bit more. So you can take all your corner clamps out and then press out these corner pieces a little bit to turn your corners. I'm going to cut this to that correct stake, tuck it behind, clamp that in place so that my ends don't pop out, rotate a quarter turn to this side of the basket, and continue working. When you have a total of 7 rows, including the round reed rows, you can flip this on its side and start weaving from the side, because the curve that we've developed at this point is going to hold the cat's head shape, that lifted base, in place. If you have not gotten the cat's head shape or these little feet in place at this point, you may want to unweave if you want that cat's head shape and try again to develop those lifted corners, because from this point on they won't form if they haven't already. Again, I like to tell students that whatever basket shape you end up with is beautiful and it was meant to be, but if you're trying to develop a certain skill, practicing multiple times is super valuable to learn how to use your hands and the material to create a specific outcome. So here I'm going to start weaving from the side, working around the basket, and I'm aiming now to start having this basket form into a circle so that I'm spiraling around in a circle and have less of these kind of corners or square shape. So we're taking this from a square to a circle as we get to the top of the basket. Now continue working in alternating rows of round reed and then quarter inch wide flat oval reed up the walls of the basket. One of the fun aspects of the cat's head basket and this specific style of cat's head basket is that the shape can be dictated by you, whether you want it to be more of a bowl, whether you want it to stay open so that it's kind of outwards pull it in tighter so the opening is more closed than the base. You can play around with tension and ease to control this. If you haven't taken the hanging vase basket workshop, I suggest taking that and practicing tension and ease in that basket so that you have more hand control and an idea of how the reed works in the basket. You can also practice on this basket, of course, but to practice tension and ease, the hanging vase basket is ideal because it's small, you can make it quickly and create different shapes quickly. With this basket, what I'm going to do is intentionally allow it to come out by allowing just a slight amount of ease in my next few rows, maybe 3 more rows, and then start to gently pull in so that I create kind of a bowl shape, and it bows inwards, and my opening will be about the same size or maybe a little smaller than this base, so it'll kind of bulb out at the center of the sides and then come in again. And I'm doing that by right now allowing a little bit more ease in the walls as I weave, and then I will pull in a little bit more as I go up from there. The reason this can be a fun one as a basket weaver is that you can either try to intentionally create a specific shape or allow the basket to organically do what it wants to do depending on how your body is feeling today, whether you're feeling extra tension and you're pulling harder on your weaver, or you're more relaxed and you're allowing looseness in your weaver. Thanks for following along with me in this video. For more basketry content, check out this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one in the series. Bye.